Alright, hello and welcome. I am BoboFraggles and I'm recording this video on behalf of the Magic Online Society. I want to welcome you to a Pioneer video. So today what we're doing is we're playing in a very small Pioneer event. This is, I think, just 7 or 8 people. But we're playing in this event. It's 3 rounds. We're going to have a good time, and I just want to do a little deck tech of the deck I'm playing. So the deck that I'm playing is called Orzhov, or Black-White Auras. And the point of this deck is pretty simple. We land a creature along this line here, any one of these creatures, and then we buff them up. We buff them up with enchantments that do +1/+1 for each enchantment you control, like Ethereal Armor. This card is just so good. All that glitters is basically the same effect. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment you control. And also, each one of our creatures is a enchantment or an artifact. So it works together with these cards. We also have some other spells that help buff. So we have Cartouche of Solidarity, which gives you a 1/1 creature. Also gives the creature first strike. Griff Spoon to give creatures flying, and then Sentinel's Eyes to give them vigilance. Now, Griff's Boon and Sentinel's Eyes are really important because they are recursive from the graveyard. So it's, in a way, you get card advantage. Card Blessing is just a protection spell. This deck is very heroic style. If anyone's ever played Blue-White Heroic back in Pharaoh Standard, or we play Pauper or Penny Dreadful or whatever, it's very heroic style deck, which is what I tend to do the most with my decks. And the mana base is pretty simple. You just have as many cards that tap for black-white as possible. So you have 4 Bright Climb Pathway and Grim Climb Pathway, Caves of Koilos, Concealed Courtyard, Godless Shrines, and then the deck is, there's only really one black spell in the actual main deck, and that's the Hateful Eidolon. So you just have 4 basic planes, because most of the deck's white. Let's talk a little bit about the creature. So, Alseid of Life's Bounty. This card is unbelievably good because it doubles as both a threat and a protection spell. So, it's just incredible. It's an incredible magic card. It also has lifelink, which should not be wasted in this format. Like, in matchups like Pyromancer, Burn, stuff like that, just landing an Alseid with an Ethereal Armor on it can sometimes in itself be game-winning. Hateful Eidolon is such a great card advantage engine because if they do kill your creature, you draw cards equal to the number of R's that were attached to it. And because you have so many recursive cards, it's so much card advantage. Same thing with SRAM. SRAM is whenever you cast an R, equipment, or vehicle, draw a card. Sometimes you draw 3, 4, 5 cards in a turn because everything's so cheap. Stone Coil Serpent is just a really, really good card. It has reach and trample and protection from multicolored. You can play it on 1, 2, 3. It's just, it comes down at any point in the game, and it acts as a super good threat. So this deck is pretty good. Let's go over the sideboard. Sideboard, we have Apostles of Purifying Light. It says protection of black, exile card from graveyard. Really, really good against Pyromancer. This is like the reason this is in here is for these like Fatal Push Pyromancer decks. You have 4 Deadweight, just to, again, it triggers SRAM, and it's a removal spell. Duress and Thoughtseize, you have these simply in here to help shore up your combo matchups a bit. Fatal Push is in the deck, just because sometimes you have to remove some creatures, and then Lurrus is our companion. So I'm going to run this through a 3-round event. I hope you enjoy, and we'll get right into the matches. So stay tuned for match number 1. Alright, welcome to round number 1 of the Pioneer League. So we are on Orzhov Auras, obviously, and this is the Magic Online Society Sunday Pioneer event. So we're up versus Garcia Adu. I think they were on Abzan Aggro. So, yes, we like to play first. Lurrus is our companion. So, this hand's pretty dope because we have the turn 1, we have Bright Climb to play the Hateful, and then we have plenty of removal spells and protection. So I'm overall feeling pretty good about this hand. So let's see what we do. So we drop the Grim Climb, and I drop the Hateful Eidolon. They play a Fabled Passage, so I drop a Plains. I can only play 1 spell this turn because of the Grim Climb. So, we're gonna bash in here. Fatal Passage, they get a swap. So they Thought Seize us, they take our Karametras. They Thought Seize us again, take our Sentinel Eyes. But we are now, they're at 14, so they did 4 damage for us, which is kind of nice. We drew another land, which is a little unfortunate. I can't cast anything out of the graveyard because I don't have enough things in the graveyard. So we get Murderous Rider here. So we did draw a card, but we happen to draw another land. So we're pretty flooded here, which is a little unfortunate. So we're like in desperate need of drawing a threat. We just need a threat, and we got it. So we got a Stone Coil Serpent, and we're going to drop it for 4 here. There is argument for playing and then playing the Sentinel's Eyes on it, but I wanted to save it for next turn, and I just wanted it to be big. Okay, so now you're about to witness something pretty amazing, and that is a misclick on my part here in just a second. So, you know, this thing's pretty big, but I knew he probably had another removal spell, so I'm just trying to be as mana efficient as possible. My thought process was dropping the Ethereal Armor or just crashing, and I played the Concealed Courtyard, and I figured I'd split the difference so that way, you know, and then I'd put the oh no, so I just attack. I think that was actually a misclick on my part. And then I just pass. Because my thought next turn is I could drop Luris, play Hateful, and then load it up. We take 2, but they tap out. And I think they plus tier. Yeah, you may sacrifice 2 to pay life and draw a card. And they give us the go-ahead. So what we do here is we just load it up, put All's Glitter on, and we crash and break. So that was game number 1. We'll be right back with game number 2. Alright, we are in game number 2 here. And this time we are on the draw. Obviously Luris is our companion. This hand's not great. We don't have what we need. All we need is a threat. So I kept this hand. I shouldn't have, but I'm also like super risky when I play this deck sometimes. So I Thought Seized him, revealed the cards. We got rid of the destroy card creature, and now I notice he's got a bunch of creatures. So I feel pretty safe. And we're gonna go. So they play Scavenging Ooze. So now we drop a. We do not pay the life, we're just waiting on a creature. Once we get a creature, though, we're in like super good shape. So they attack in for 4. We're now at 12. We need a creature really, really bad. Siege Rhino takes us to 9. And we get there with Apostle of Purifying Light. So we drop the Apostle. Protection from black, which is super nice. Right out of the sideboard. We go ahead, we get ourselves another threat now. And we drop that on there, so we got a 5/4 first strike. So we are ready for this Siege Rhino. This Siege Rhino ain't got nothing on us. And of course, I know their cards in their hand. I feel pretty comfortable with what we're playing against. The Vigilance flying here is about to become like really, really good. So we're up to a 9/7, and that's about to get even bigger when I take it. So a 15/13 flying Vigilance. He did mess up the turn before. He should have attacked to get me to 4, so then the following turn he could attack for, you know, potentially hit me for lethal, but I think I would have won this game at 2 anyway. But so now they play Tireless Tracker, they get some clues, and they ended up conceding because I had to win on the following turn. So that was game number 2 of match number 1. Now we're currently 1-0 in this tournament, and we're feeling pretty good. I'll be right back with round number 2. Okay, we are here in round number 2 of the MOS Pioneer Sunday event. So we're on the draw here, and we have Orzhov again, of course. So we have, like, we're super land heavy here, so I'm looking into no lands at all. Unfortunate. So this hand's better, right? This hand's pretty good. So I get rid of 1 Hateful Eidolon because I really want the SRAM to do some work. So, you know, hopefully I can turn 1 Hateful, turn 2. All that glitters, get in for some damage, but they Thought Seizes and take the SRAM. So it's not the end of the world. We play the caves. I did not play the Hateful Eidolon because it's a black-red deck, and I didn't want it to get shocked or anything, so I want Karametra's Blessing up to protect it. They play Dragon Skull Summit. We play Hateful with the Karametra's as backup. Okay, so I still don't feel comfortable tapping out. So what we're going to do, play Hateful, and of course they go against commands, so they make us discard a card. I go ahead and protect this thing, just because it's probably one of the most important things that we have on the battlefield. They play Dreadhorde Arcanist, we play a land, so now we're just going to go on it. So we go in for 4 or 5 lifelink. Life swings in our favor, but they have Thoughtseize. You know, Thoughtseize is pretty dead here for them. So we'll see what they do here. Kroxa. Kroxa is fine on this particular battlefield. I'm fine with it. Doesn't really do anything for them. But then they Village Rites, and they draw 2 cards off of it, which is like, plus I lose 3 life, which is pretty terrible for us. So we draw a Stone Coil Serpent. It makes sense just to bash in. And now we play the 3 protection from multicolor, which is going to hopefully protect us against the Kroxa coming down, which I assume is going to come down the next turn. Okay, so they push the Serpent because, you know, they know it's probably one of the things. Honestly, what they probably should have done is pushed the Hateful Eidolon, let me draw a card, then Thoughtseize me. It's probably what should have been done. But they pushed the Stone Coil Serpent, probably because they know it'll block Kroxa. Oh, Fatal Push, and then Fatal Push, and then I draw another card. Oh, I drew a SRAM plus a Kroxa, so I got to discard a card. This is where Sentinel Lines is really good to discard. And then I believe they Thoughtseize me again. They take all the cards out of my hand. So I put the 2/3 on there. Hit them. Put Lurrus in my hand, which I know is a mistake because they have Thoughtseize, but I want him to go to 3. But then I completely forgot that he just unearths Kroxa. And Kroxa makes me discard it. Easy peasy. And this game's pretty on autopilot from this point forward. You know, it draws a bunch of cards, has a young Pyromancer, and I went ahead and called it. This started to snowball to a point where I didn't feel like I was going to be able to come back from the overwhelming card advantage. So that was game number 1. We'll be right back with game number 2. Alright, so this is game number 2 of match number 2 of the MOS Modern League. Or sorry, MOS Pioneer Sunday. So we are on the play here. And our hand here is interesting. So we have Duresses, which will help get rid of any removal spells and cold against commands, like the cards that I really, really, really hate. And we have Hydo Cartouche to start flooding the board a little bit. So I like this hand a lot. So we go to 18, and I go ahead and I Duress them. And to reveal, cold against command, Magma Spray, and Claim Fame. So obviously Magma Spray has to go away. They play a Swamp, and they Thoughtseize us. They take our Stone Coil Serpent because of the Cold against command in hand. I shock to 16, play my Hateful, and I went go ahead and put the cartouche on it. Drew another card because you know, that was a nice draw from them. Fatal Push was like a super good draw. We know it was their draw because we got rid of Claim, we got rid of Fame. They played the Blood Crypt, they played the Swamp. So we know, and Lurrus is in there again. So 4 cards we now know. So we know they drew that Fatal Push, which is a super good draw for them. You know, so we go ahead and we Duress because I want the Kolaghan's Command out of their hand. So I take the Kolaghan's Command, Claim Fame. So we know these are the cards in hand. Oh yeah. So then I go ahead and drop an Alcide to Life's Bounty, and then we go ahead and just hit for 1 with our Vigilance Creature. Alright, so now they drew Kroxa. So they played the Dragon Skull Summit, and then they play Kroxa, which is like super good for them. So we have to discard a card. Obviously, Sentinel Lines is the perfect card to discard in this scenario. And then they do it again. Then they play Feign, put Crocs back on the battlefield, make us discard our next card. So we have Saram, which is a lucky draw for us. And now we are going to hit it. My plan is to then start unloading these Karametra's Blessings, but that didn't work either because we ended up having him Culligan's Command. Again, another super, super good card for them. So they had like a runner of good cards to draw. So what we did was we played that on there. I go ahead and I make it a 5/5 by playing a Sentinel Eyes from the graveyard. And of course I'm a little stuck on land here. Stuck on 2 mana. They're a little stuck on land too, which is probably the only reason that we're doing so well. So now they're at 9. This is a very difficult. So they Crocs us again. Again, we're okay with that at this point. So we draw a land. Really not good, but I believe. Yep. Okay. So we put Luris in hand. Hopefully next turn. So this way, and then we get we get a Croxud. Apostle of Purifying Light. Super good draw. So we can attack in. It's a 5/5 versus a 6/6, although we do it first strike. So then they get Citrus Supplier. Start loading up their graveyard with goodies. And now Dreadhorde. Okay, so we got to do something like right now. And this was like, I think, one of my favorite plays of the tournament. Because I'm going to stop here for a second. Does anybody see the win? They have 0 cards in hand. This is our board. Can we win from this position? Next turn we lose, right? Next turn we lose because they have Fatal Push. So how do we win here? I'm going to show you. So what I did was I paid 1 and I sacrificed, giving him protection from red, right? Now, because I sacrificed this, the Sentinel Eyes goes to the graveyard. So we have protection black-red 3/2. And we got there with Xaxes. On a board that was looking very, very formidable. We got there. So that was game number 2 of match number 2. Now we're heading into game number 3 of match number 2. I'll be right back. Alright, we are in game number 3, match number 2 of the MOS Pioneer event with Orzhov Auras. So, again, we are on the draw here because we lost this hand. I believe I kept this hand. I probably shouldn't have, but I knew that, like... So, I had this conversation with the opponent after the match. Black-Red Pyromancer puts the opponent in a very awkward position. And the awkward position is that every mulligan works so well towards their already existing game plan that it just slides the advantage bar. With plays here, I have some plays. I have Duress, Hateful Eidolon, Griffspoon. I decided to keep this hand because it just makes a mulligan here. I feel like would make it worse. So they play Blood Crypt, and then they Thoughtseize us and take our Saran. Okay, at least they didn't take the Hateful Eidolon. So I'm gonna scope their hand out, right? I'm going to take a look at their hand, and oof meter off the charts. We have no hits off our Duress, but we're now working with like pretty good information, which is super unfortunate. Okay, so we go to their turn. At this point, I'm feeling pretty deflated. I'm thinking like, okay, this is a auto lose, and then they drop a Dreadhorde, right? So we know the cards in hand. They played the Dragon Skull Summit. They played that, so we know they have these 2 cards in hand. Okay, so we have Hateful, and we have now an Ethereal Armor. I'm feeling like pretty good overall because I know that they had to draw a real spell this turn, right? And they Thoughtseize us again, and they get a token. Okay. All right. So I drew Fatal Push, and I went ahead and got rid of that Dreadhorde Arcanist because that Dreadhorde Arcanist is terrifying. They attack us with Pyromancer and the token. I think attacking with the token was a bit of a mistake. I mean, 2 damage. There's no difference between 1 and 2 damage. I only took 1. So then they play Claim, get their Dread Horde back. So I'm feeling like, oh, then they Croxa us. So this is looking like terrible for us, right? Looking absolutely terrible for us. What I need is a land. Got it. Right? So I pass through my attack phase. I drop the land. I drop Apostle. Alright, so now I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling a little bit better. Not great, but I'm feeling a little bit better. Go ahead and put the ethereal armor on this guy, and then we're gonna start crashing in because I want my life total to be up, and I want him to be pressured a tiny bit. And I go ahead and duress. They have Lurrus and Swamp. Okay. So Lurrus, Swamp, Croxa, and that are gone. Alright. So the protection from black I like a lot in this scenario because the Croxa is not as scary as it was before. But we lose our Karametra's Blessing here. Attack in again. We're like exchanging life totals a bit. Stitcher Supplier. Another. So we're looking pretty bad here, right? What's the chances of us winning this game? They go ahead and Thoughtseize, taking them to 9. Which I think is a little risky, but like getting the extra token, I guess. But like, I'm going up so high on lands, or I'm going up so high on life that like these tokens are becoming diminishing returns. I stayed back here, and I'm not quite sure exactly why I did that. That may have been a misclick. And of course, I'm praying as hard as I possibly can for a land to play this Griftspoon out of the graveyard. If I get a Griftspoon here, I am feeling like super good. Oh, that's right. I didn't want their Stitcher Supplier to die, so that's why I didn't attack. So they Village Rites, they sacrifice, and I have got to win this game soon. If I'm going to win, I got to win. They play another Dread Horde. I get an Alsaida Life's Bounty, which is not terrible, but not exactly what I want in this hand. So I also have Apostle of Purifying Light's ability to remove a card from the graveyard, which is something that is kind of important. My plan is to wait. So I have 2 options. I can get rid of a card with Apostles of Purifying Light, or I can protect with Alsaida Life's Bounty. The interesting thing here is that I'm going to wait until they target something with Dread Horde because they play a lot of spells, and you know this person's been having pretty good luck with their draws. So one of the things that I'm interested in doing is waiting to see what my decision tree is going to be. They Fable Passage, they get a land, they play another Stitcher Supplier. Alright, so they're kind of like loading up here. Another Stitcher Supplier. So there's more in that graveyard than I can even remotely handle. So as you can see, this is pretty bad for me overall. But this is where they tap out. So I have this turn to try to win, right? They play another Croxa. Again, taking me to 16. Okay. I go ahead and just remove Bloodchief's Thirst from their graveyard on end step just to try to because I did not draw the land that I needed. So I went ahead and got rid of the Claim Fame because I don't want them to try to win here. I have Alsaid to protect. They attack in, which I felt was super weird attack. So yeah, I lost the Apostles of Purifying in my hand, but they attacked for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, but I block here, take none, and then I gain 6. So I gain 4. They take a net of 1. I understand that they feel like they have to get some pressure in, but like if you're going to attack, you attack with everything, I think. Because then that would have knocked me down. It would have given me a chance to remove some good creatures, but again, a net of 1 damage. So I have this turn again to try to draw what I need. And I drew it. So we drop the lands. I put the boon, and we hit them to their -1. So I don't feel like we should have won this game, but we did. It was a close one. Very, very interesting game. Rakdos Pyromancer is such a strong deck, and it really does. It puts you in a weird spot as the opponent on your choices of mulliganing and stuff. I ended up drawing out of what I needed to, which is really, really good. Just got lucky. I just got pure luck sack. So we'll be back with round number 3. Alright, welcome back to round number 3. This is the last and final round of the MOS Pioneer event. We're on Always Have Auras, and this time we're facing Bant Spirits. So we won the die roll. We want to play first, so of course I select first. This hand, pretty good. We have, this hand is pretty baller. We have just enough lands. We have just enough spells. I feel pretty good about this hand. I don't know what I'm playing against yet, so opponent mulligans to 5. This is looking to be like probably a good game for us, unfortunately for our opponent. So let's go ahead and shock ourselves, and we play the Hateful Eidolon. I see green-blue here, which makes me think like there's nothing that really harms me here besides Censor, right? Censor is the card that gets me. That one, it's like a 4 spike with cycling or something. So I play like super conservatively here, and I'm not quite sure why I did that. I just wanted to be able to play SRAM next turn and then cast a spell. So that way if it gets countered, then... So I see green-blue again, so they're locked out of white. And this was my plan. So now I put this on the Stone Coil. Okay, and they play Rattle Chains. And we hit in for 2. Come on, game. There we go. Okay. So now on their turn, they play Breeding Pool and not in the play tap, so they're missing white. Again, we're just drawing cards, and they ended up conceding because this was, I think, a pretty overwhelming position for us at this point, because we had another Sentinel's Eyes we were going to drop, and I was spreading the love out against multiple creatures, so if they do like bounce something or anything along those lines, that we would have been just fine. So that was game number 1 of match number 3. We'll be right back with game number 2. Alright, we are in game number 2, match number 3 of the MOS Pioneer event. This was for all the marbles. This is for the winner of this event. So, this hand, real good, right? Just super good. Everything that we could want in this hand. Let's go ahead and let's drop the Alseid, right? Alseid, they drop us Salient Response. So now let's go ahead and just drop a SRAM. I thought there was going to be countered here. They hit us for 1, but little do they know what we're about to do. We draw a card, Sentinel's Eyes. Again, it goes on the lifelink creature, which is like really good in this matchup. And I wanted to get all this down before they get what's that card? The 2/3 or 3/4 or whatever flying counter a spell 4 or less guy. Anyway, they counter that, but we went up a card on it. So I should have attacked with SRAM here too. Unsure of why I did not attack with SRAM. A little bit of a mistake there. Could have had them at 16. All right. As you see, this is pretty standard stuff. We're just loading up and going. Supreme Phantom, not worried to be in 18 life. I drew a Fatal Push. Like, this game is going our way. I go ahead and I attach the Griff Spoon over to the other creature just to spread the love out. And again, flying first strike. My plan is that if they block with everything, to then push the Supreme Phantom and then have that, go bad. You know what I mean? So I would kill everything on their board. My creature would still live. If they in turn Lofty Denial the Fatal Push, then yes, I lose the Alseid, but I have a SRAM, my hand's full, I have Hateful. Like, I'm feeling good about this. So I feel like that was a risk that I was willing to take. Get them to 8, they play another Rattle Chains. So destroy target artifact or enchantment. And since you know this is an enchantment, so what we do is we play Karametra's Blessing. They Lofty Denial. Fine. We play Karametra's Blessing again. And now, you know, we are just in quite possibly just like the best shape ever. We just load the board up. Attack for 4. I'm just going to speed through this because it's pretty self-explanatory. Fatal Push there. Supreme Phantom. Played Nebelgas Herald, tapping our thing down, giving them one more turn. I trade. I drew more cards because that died. I just drew a lot of cards. You know, I drew Ethereal Armor to go on the. Oh yeah, oh man. I had in my mind that I was going to cast another Saran to draw 2 cards for each one, forgetting that he was a legendary creature. So a bit of a whoops there on my part. So then cast Ethereal Armor. Yeah, and then just they ended up conceding. So we went 3-0 in this event. This deck is really powerful. I did not play 100% optimally, and I still did okay. So if you're looking for a really fun Pioneer deck, very glass cannony, can lose very, very easily. If I hadn't drawn exactly what I needed to in match number 2, I would have lost. So, you know, if you want a nice, fun Pioneer deck that's relatively inexpensive too, this one's super cheap on MTGO. It's very cheap in paper too to take your FNM or whatever. Give it a shot. And I hope you enjoyed these videos. I will be back with more content in the future, but these are fast recaps, so hopefully you enjoyed. And I will see everyone later. Have a great day.